Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is JudiciousFire. I'm on the iOS server. I'm checking in on my fifth video in the Hero Compendium series. This is part 5, where we're looking at heroes 49 through 60 in the Hero Compendium. We left off last time with Rockno. Now, as we move into this next dozen heroes, we're going to be looking at a variety of new skills, abilities that are introduced into the game. A lot of changes were affected at this point in the game. Heroes were designed differently. We start coming into the modern times. I think this is going to be a good illustration of when it comes to auto-proc heroes, heroes that are able to activate their skill passively. With the use of an Empower talent or insignia, they're able to affect their skill in battle or in defense. When the hero first enters the board, they're able to provide a great base defense, they're able to provide a great buff to themselves, etc. We're going to see that certain auto-proc heroes are of a higher or lower value. We go to a prior video, a hero like Triantar. He can't revive in that way. He can't bring your heroes back in a base defense scenario. He can just provide a damage reduction to your team. And somebody like a Skull Knight, he's able to auto-proc, but it's just giving him a buff. In truth, if he were under direct attack by the enemy, he would be doing that anyway. So it's a very limited auto-proc. We begin to see that the value of auto-proc heroes through these next 12. Let's begin with Mektessa. Okay, she is auto-proc, but like Skull Knight, she'll only buff herself. She does nothing against the enemy. And in order for that personal buff to work, the enemy's got to be up in her face fighting her. Well, she'd be buffing under those circumstances anyway. So I would not pursue the auto-proc abilities of Mektessa. Let's look at what she does well and invest our time and resources and options in this game into making those one or two things even better. She has an incredible attack rate. She is able to fire rapid fire machine gun blasts against the enemy. It's going to be a high DPS hero. The damage per second that she's capable of is fantastic. Let's explore that. With a Sunder, I'm able to give her even more hits in combat. If I have a damage cap mode that I want to explore, not Archdemon, but maybe Warden boss challenges, Labyrinth Goblins, Mektessa is an incredible hero for that. Sunder is going to help out incredibly. With her Insignia, I give her the chance to do even more damage, as well as possibly providing an extra hit if I'm taking on these any green affiliated hero. That can, of course, be swapped out if you want to take on a specific enemy. If I'm using her in general game mode use, she is a freight train, meaning she takes a long time to get going. But once she gets going, she is unstoppable. You've got to give her a little bit of survivability. You've got to give her some kind of damage negation, even with her damage cap. Just like Skull Knight, those moments of vulnerability, she's destroyed. So you've got to make sure that she has a little bit of healing capability, damage negation, to help out with her incredible attack speed. I'm giving her an unbridled fury. Onto her own general gameplay, it is going to help her. And traits, I want her to stay out of the way of harm, but with her rapid fire attack speed, I want her to hit. She's a bit like Phantom King in that way. I want her to dodge and get out of trouble because she doesn't have the survivability to make it through the whole battle. But if she is going to survive, let's let her hit as often as possible. Try to get the max benefit out of her. She is coming in about 51,000 damage. She is about 1.2 million health. She has decent dodge, decent accuracy. I'm trying to find a blend between the two. She is a fun hero. If I'm running her with a survival, I would probably be running her with some kind of... let's see. You could do a Vigorous Fury. You could do a... I'm not a big fan of Life Drain. Just extends a battle you were going to lose anyway. You could even do something like a scatter if you wanted to use her in those kinds of game modes. She is a hero that has limited use. Really high DPS in certain niche modes, maybe a Warden challenge, or fun for general overall use with like a survival, something defense related. She is what I would call a fun hero in the beginning of the game and still a fun hero by the end of the game. There are much better heroes to put your resources into rather than this niche mode Mectessa, who really serves no purpose in helping you progress as a Castle Clasher. I would leave her alone. We move on to Skeletica. Skeletica is one of the dragons in the Dragon series. It came out right around the mid-time, where we were starting to move a little bit more defensively as a game. He is an auto-proc hero. So with Empower, I am able to get a great deal of use out of him. He will fire a shot that debuffs or takes away the strength of the enemy. He does a heck of a lot of damage. He's has a great attack speed. You'll see these magic missiles coming out every couple of seconds automatically with the use of Empower. Great base defender, and that's how I would use him. He doesn't have the ability to go long face-to-face battles against the top-tier heroes of today. He's better as a defender from a distance, a bit like a ranger or an archer. He needs to stay away, but those hits or arrows that he's sending out can be pretty devastating. So Empower, and I have him with a Wicked Armor. He's going to get a big attack boost based on its talent-related properties. He's going to negate reflected and deflected damage down to just 7,000 per hit. Major benefit to him. Reflect and deflect will hurt him. And he's also able to get a 7,078 base attack boost, as well as nearly 50,000 extra health by running him this way with Empower as the main talent. He is a healer as well. And another thing that makes him a great archer, just sit there, you can take a little bit of damage, heal it back up. That's really helped by Holy Conviction, as well as the damage reduction. Mostly dodge. I'm keeping him away just like an archer. I don't want him in the fray. I don't want him up in front. I don't want him face to face. And if he is going to be, allow him to at least dodge or get out of the way completely of hits that he was going to take. If I'm going to use him in any kind of a attack scenario, I want to give him a damage negation. And I would probably be running something like a Sacred Light on him. And it allows him, we're at a different point in the game now, it allows him to activate his skill multiple times over a 3-minute battle. That's the only thing that's going to take out today's top heroes. You've got to activate your hero's skill multiple times over a longer duration. These are long battles face-to-face against the top-tier heroes, and you've got to be able to begin with a defensive standpoint. So, at least with this, I'm able to continually debuff the enemy in some kind of an attack scenario. He has about 51,000 damage, about 1.2 million health. You can see a much higher dodge rate, relatively decent accuracy. A good hero all around. I think Skeletica is a preferred hero, maybe first half of the game. You will value him. You will use him often. He does make certain tasks, defense, certain dungeon tasks to be a lot easier. I think in the second half of the game, you start to see that he is just a fun hero. That there are heroes that allow you to do what he's attempting to do even better. I have found that only as an Empower auto-proc base defender am I ever using him at all. So I would not chase Skeletica, but if you get him, you will value him. A preferred hero that leans towards fun by the end of the game. Walla Walla. Walla is a healer. Walla is a buffer of your team. He makes your team stronger. Walla is a debuffer. He slows the enemy down. Walla is an absolutely essential hero in this game. Walla is the best healer in this game, in the sense that if I had to go with any healer, I'd immediately go with Walla, because he is great in so many things, so core to building a team, that without his services, many of my attempts in this game would fail. Walla is so essential to making a great team, and it begins with a healer and a buffer like Walla. The heal that he provides can be automatically generated. He can be a base defender in Guild Wars, healing up your team, auto proc, an essential and incredible auto proc hero. Perhaps the finest definition in Castle Clash of what an auto proc hero should be. Unlike Skull Knight, Mectessa, he is able to help your entire team. And even unlike Skeletica, the damage that he does is just one part of that auto proc. He's making your whole team stronger while healing them as well. He does so many things well. He is a premier hero. He's going to get that auto proc ability with Empower. If I am running him in a Guild Wars base defense and I'm using him all the time, I find that Wicked Armor helps keep him alive. It is a offensive Sacred Light, if you will, with the Holy Conviction, and he is perhaps the best hero to give the Holy Conviction enchantment to. He was the first one that I said, I'm going to give him Holy Conviction. The damage reduction, as well as the ability to heal himself at twice the rate, is invaluable. It made my Walla from slightly weak, prone to injury, to nearly indestructible if he's a member of a good, solid team. Almost all dodge. The effects that he gives, the buffing of your team to make them stronger as well as healing them, is not dependent on accuracy. They will not miss. Now, his movement speed reduction, the blast of damage as well that he gives the enemy, that is dependent on accuracy. I would prefer to keep him alive. A dead Walla helps nobody. If I am using him in an attack-related scenario, and I do use him in Guild Wars attacks, I am going to want to give him damage negation. That's 40% of the time he can't take damage. As well as now getting a double heal, his own and the one that survival gives him. Also, it's very low in terms of the insignia properties. Now, if we go with something like a Sacred Light, we're getting all the benefits of the talent Sacred Light. But by running it as the insignia rather than the talent, I'm getting 4551 in addition, as well as 76,000 extra health. I'd be getting half that with survival as the insignia at level 9. Walla is coming in at about 52,000 damage, about nearly 1.2 million health. Really nice accuracy, even with little limited augmentation. Great dodge. He is an amazing hero. One of my favorites in the game because he has earned his place as one of the best. His heal, his attack boost to your team is invaluable. Also, in terms of skill 13, at the highest levels, he will buff and heal your entire team, all 6 members. He is the hero I would recommend first at skill 13. So not only the recipient of Holy Conviction first, but the recipient of skill 13 first. An amazing hero who helps to keep your team alive and strong throughout long extended defenses or offensives. Great guy. We move on to Creation. Creation, just like Michael, is showing us that we need to focus in on the one thing that our heroes do well and not trying to make them generalists or jack of all trades. We have a different hero every month and 70 plus legendaries for a reason. Each one is there to provide its own utility or use. If we try to make great general overall heroes that can do a lot of different things, we're going to find that they do all of those things to just an average level. It's better to have one specialist, great at one thing, the best at one thing, and assemble through team formation 6 specialists. Now you're going to win. So creation is a great example of that. He does 2 completely different things. Thing number 1, he attacks the enemy through auto proc automatically with an Empower Talent or Insignia. He can do so defensively. You send your guys out on the base, all of a sudden creation hits you, drills down on you, causing massive damage. It's one thing that he does. Another thing that he does is he buffs himself, just himself. He becomes a better, stronger version of creation. He becomes meaner and even more nasty. But in order for that to happen, he has to be under attack. So Dovekeeper's crit strikes have to be hitting him on top of the head. Or he's got to be up in the face of a Levanica, punching it out. I have found that this second thing, his personal buff, I've found that in theory, it's a great thing, but in practice, it's always a failure. He lacks the survivability to be under this kind of an attack. If you find that your creation is getting attacked, he's probably getting killed. And he certainly can't punch it out with today's Premier Heroes. So I put that aside and looked at the one thing that he does very, very well. And I'm trying to make him a better version of that. Creation is a scalpel. He's designed for fast, deft cuts. This part, where he becomes stronger and meaner, he's not a sledgehammer. He's not designed to smash stuff up. Let your sledgehammers be sledgehammers. Make them heavier. Make them be able to bash even more. Make your scalpels, like creation should be, make them sharper. Make him easier to wield in one's hand. Let's make him the best auto-proc killer we can be. And I do that with Empower, and I do that with a Wicked Armor. It is going to cut down on the reflect damage while pumping up his damage like you wouldn't believe. This man with auto-proc as a base defender, he provides a corkscrew of damage. This corkscrew happens over a multi-second period. Now, if you are attacked by a Dovekeeper, a Levanica, a Zephyrica, they have damage caps, and very good ones. But his ability to hit over a long period of time will whittle down that damage cap, and you will see actual damage happening to Dovekeeper. You will see her health meter slowly being reduced because he's able to sustain those corkscrew hits for so many seconds. A wonderful hero when you max him out and you jack him up as best that you can in terms of his upgrading process. You will find that he does incredible damage against the enemy. If I'm running him in general game mode use, and I will use him in an attack during a Guild Wars, I will find that damage negation. Remember, I'm not worried about him being attacked and turning into a Hulk. I'm worried about him being a great scalpel. Let him corkscrew kill the damage cap heroes in this game. Keep him alive with the survival. You can run him with the Sacred Light and be able to... Run him with the Sacred Light and be able to keep him alive even longer and let the duration of multiple skill activations kill off these damage cap heroes. It isn't going to happen in one skill activation. It's going to have to happen over time, and that takes a defensive build and an eye towards keeping our heroes alive for a long time. I have him with a Victory Lunge. He is a damage dealer from a distance. He's that sharp scalpel. Let's make him even sharper by giving him a 25% attack boost. And nearly all attack. I want to get his damage up so he can drill down on the enemy and take care of them. when it comes to offense or defense. We're at 53,000 damage, 1.3 million health. Accuracy and dodge have not been affected. Now, you can make the argument that higher accuracy is going to allow him to provide more hits in battle, and I will not argue with you. But in order to make him the best surgeon, the best scalpel he can be, I want to give him damage so he can take guys out pretty quickly. I'm not finding him missing to be a problem. And in summation, when it comes to creation, 01, let me talk about accuracy very, very briefly. He is the hero, the only hero in the game of Castle Clash who can see Ronin when Ronin is in that elusive state. Creation will hit Ronin when he lapses in and out of this invisible, indestructible state. He is that sniper and base defender who's able to seek Ronin out and hit him. If you see a maxed out creation on some of the bases of top players, regardless of the server, you know why. Great base defender and able to see Ronin attacks and take care of that little ninja from a distance. Creation, a hero that is preferred in the beginning of the game, and I think also preferred in the second half of the game. He is not my first choice, but he's like, if I were able to make a team of 7 or 8 in this game, I would be going to creation every day. All right. We're only able to make teams of 6. And somebody like a Walla, who's able to heal and buff our whole team, is much better. He's more of an independent hero creation. So I would put him in to the list of, top heroes for what he does, but he's nobody that you need to chase. By end game, you're going to be loving him, using him for certain specific tasks, even Warden Challenge. But he is not a hero that I would go out of my way to invest my resources when I have better heroes to develop. Okay, we have Athene. Athene, like Pumpkin Duke, like Michael, like Cupid, is able to buff your team, make them stronger. She increases our attack speed, and she gives us more energy so we can activate our skill more often. She is a very helpful hero. Like Mike and PD and Cupid, she's the perfect hero to have in totem or to bring along in a battle or use in a base defense scenario. She is a hero that is able, like Michael, to auto proc. So I can sit her on the base. She will buff my entire team. That has an incredible amount of utility to it. She is a team player, making everybody faster, everybody more juiced up on energy. All of those positively benefit us. And with the Empower, she is given that opportunity. She is also able to hit for some relative damage. She is able to hit targets that are nearby. She will not hit globally like a Walla Walla or an Anubis, but if the enemy's close to us, she will be able to hit them. When she does hit them, I find that a Wicked Armor is necessary. She will die from reflect and deflect damage in this game. So this provides both an offensive and a defensive capability, and it is a real lifesaver for her especially. If I'm using her in general game modes, I would want to begin with a basis for invulnerability. 40% of the time she's getting that. She has no innate ability to heal. Now she does. And I would be pairing that again with a defensive talent. It's going to be multiple skill activations over time that's going to beat the enemy. Offensively, I'm starting with a defensive build. And that is going to be achieved with a Sacred Light. I have her with a Holy Conviction. No innate ability to heal, but she's going to be on a team with a healer. She'll have a healing pet. She'll be running that survival option. Well, now all of a sudden, more damage reduction and double the ability to heal herself. Dodge. Keep her out of harm's way. Keep her out of danger. Don't give her extra health where she's able to accept more punishment. One of those hits will kill her. Keep her out of harm's way. She is not a damage dealer. She is a team builder and a team player. She is a buffer, just like Mike. This other stuff that she does, don't worry about it. make her a great buffer. Auto proc or keep her alive during a battle where you need her. About 50,000 damage, 1.2 million health. I'm not worried about her accuracy because I'm not using her to attack the enemy or cause them harm. I'm using her to buff the team, keep her alive with the dodge. Athene, I would say a preferred hero, a wonderful buffer to your team during the majority of the game. I think Michael does a much better job of buffing. I think that if you need to use a Cupid for damage increase as well as energy increase, he'll do a much better job than Athene, especially in the in the energy production area. Nobody can touch a Pumpkin Duke. Best buffer in the game, an essential hero. His lack of a cooldown provides him the ability to stack or add his skill activations to top one another. She cannot do that. I would say by the end stages of the game, she is somebody that you might use for her buffing capability, either in Totem or perhaps in certain speed runs, niche game modes. Just a preferred hero. One of those 4 buffers that we have that can make your team faster and stronger. I'm leaving Walla out in the sense that he'd probably be on your team. Okay, so if you're bringing in a buffer for whatever niche reason, Athene's one of the 4 you think of, probably the 4th. So I would just say in those senses preferred. If you've got a Michael, if you've got a Pumpkin Duke, invest in them. And I would say Pumpkin Duke before any of the others. He's definitely Premier League. So Athene, fun to have, but not necessarily somebody that unlocks any keys to Castle Clash. You can provide yourself a great deal of success without an Athene on your team. Okay, Sasquatch. Sasquatch is a tremendous brute. He comes smashing into dungeons, smashing into bases. He causes a lot of area damage. That around him is going to pretty much get smashed up. There'll be nothing left of it. He provides a rapid fire healing effect to himself. And you'll see his heals happening again and again and again and again. Provides him a great deal of survivability. Now, I am trying to help with that. I'm trying to make him the best Sasquatch he can be. A Sacred Light's going to reduce the damage he takes when he runs headfirst into the crowd. It's going to give him an extra health pool to allow him to absorb all of those rapid heals. I've got to give him the ability to take all of those heals and to actually benefit from them with the regen, extra energy production, as well as more rapid healing. So big boost to his already great healing process. If I'm worried about survivability in any form, I'll give him damage negation. I'll make that the basis for it. And I will add something like a Sacred Light, bigger health pool, more damage reduction. He's got the Holy Conviction. Now, either way I'm running him, I'm getting more damage reduction as well as a big increase to his already incredible heal. We're going to look at this last part. When he is attacked, he recovers health equal to 200%, his base attack. That is the number that we see next to the sword. That 10,000 and then the additional. That base attack defines his healing capabilities. For his traits, I have gone all attack. Not only does he do more base smashing, not only does he do more hero damage, but he is going to increase his healing capability and become a more effective Sasquatch. You can't go wrong with that. He's going to benefit in multiple categories in the things that he does well as a hero. He is coming in at almost 55,000 damage. 1.3 million health. Accuracy, the man's a rapid fire hitter. I'm not worried about his face to face attack skills, his ability to hit. I am not so concerned with the dodge because when he is attacked, he will begin his healing process. So you got to put Sass up in front, or he's got to be one of the first heroes you drop out on the board to ensure that he is going to be attacked. So I would stay away from a dodge Sass, and that's another reason I went all attack. You want him to be attacked. Sass is, I would say, definitely a preferred hero for the first, I'll say 2/3 of the game. For 2/3 of the game, Sass is going to be a great guy to help you through dungeons, help you to smash up bases, help you on raids, help you in things like a lost battlefield, even something like an arena. But when you're entering into the last third of the game, you're going to be finding that you're taking on heroes that fly. He walks. Taking on heroes that provide crit strikes into the millions. Typically, he doesn't. Heroes that have an ability to hit globally anywhere on that 40 by 40 board. He can't. He has the auto proc ability, but it just like Mictessa, it only buffs himself momentarily there on the base. The bad guys have to be right on him for it to mean anything. And by that time, he'd be buffing himself anyway. So he has limitations. I would go so far as to say he's just fun during the last stages. There's nothing in Castle Clash that you're going to be doing at that time that would really require a Sass, other than the most niche uses in perhaps a Warden challenge. So you will replace Sass with heroes that are able to survive a lot longer and have a much more powerful skill set. So 2/3 of the game are preferred hero. By the end, he just becomes a lot of fun. Espirita. She's kind of like a mini Anubis. She does, through the use of her doppelganger or side spirit, helper in battle, she's able to do damage to multiple heroes around the board. She's very effective in dungeons. She's very effective in she's auto-proc to a certain degree. It's not one I would explore again in that fashion. It's not what she does well. So let's try to make her what she does well. She does damage, but she has to be alive for that to happen. She doesn't do well in the sense that she is a high survival rate hero. Now, the spirit she summons has a very high survivability rate and the ability to provide some healing. And we can help with energy production and healing with the regen. Really, she is a hero that once you get Anubis, you really wouldn't be using her all that often. So if you are using her, I would go towards trying to just keep her alive. Again, provide some more damage reduction as well as a better healing process. Dodge. Keep her out of danger. Not worried about her absorbing punishment. I would rather her just stay out of the punishment's way. If I'm using her more so in a, I would say even an offensive scenario, and probably I wouldn't be most of the time, I would want to go with damage negation. Otherwise, the moment she steps out into the board, she's going to get turned to dust. You've got to be able to keep her alive. In that sense, I would go with a Sacred Light. Again, pairs very well with all the Holy Conviction and the healing process that she engages in. Again, this is not a hero that I would be chasing after. It's not a hero. Espirita is not a hero that's going to serve, general Castle Clash players very well. She has the niche Warden option, certainly. But beyond that, you're going to be asking Anubis to do the job. She is somebody who's very quickly benched or replaced once you get a hold of an Anubis. As she's about 50,000 damage, about 1.2 million health. Very high dodge rate. So I would say that she is a preferred hero first half of the game and can replace somebody like an Anubis if you haven't gotten him yet. Second half of the game or the time that you get Anubis, you really don't need a spirit at all. Just becomes fun towards the latter half of the game. Okay, Dovekeeper. I did a top 10 heroes list. Again, to some controversy based on the comments that I was receiving on multiple platforms, a Dovekeeper was not to be chosen as the number one hero in Castle Clash. I still stick with that. Dovekeeper is number one in this game. My Dovekeeper can fight your Levanica. My Dovekeeper can fight your Zephyrica. My Dovekeeper can fight your dragons and lose. But my Dovekeeper has the ability to be rebuilt. I can choose a different talent, a different insignia, a different enchantment, a different trait set, a different pet, a different build. And I can return to that battle, return to your Levanica, return to your Zephyrica, and I can win. Dovekeeper, her battle cry is I shall return. She is the Douglas MacArthur of the Castle Clashing community. This is what makes her number one. There is no perfect build for a Dovekeeper, nor is there no terrible build for a Dovekeeper. There are multiple builds for a Dovekeeper, and that is her greatest strength. Her damage cap, minimizing any kind of critical hit opportunity, keeps her alive. Her nearly indestructible love doves give us a perimeter that allow our heroes to serve and function as a team and to activate their skills. She is your point person, the one you drop out there on the board to absorb the damage. Then the other five come after Dovekeeper has first walked onto the beach. I run my Dove as a striker. She is not a damage dealer. A damage dealer does damage of a predictable quantity over a period of time. Dovekeeper is a crit striker. She will miss, and she'll miss again. She'll miss a third time. But that fourth time, she's going to hit you for 11 million damage. You're done. She is a striker, and to help with that, I run Vigorous Fury. Crits in this game. You have the likelihood to crit. You have the damage that the crit will inflict. Vigorous Fury will give her a higher likelihood to crit. The crits will happen more often. With a Brute Force 9, I am increasing the damage that is caused by the critical. I choose to run Vigorous Fury and Brute Force in this combination in order to get the benefits of both talents while also getting a far superior 74-77 base attack damage. If I were running it with Vigorous Fury 9, I would be getting 47-75. Now, more health, but on a crit striker, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to cause more damage, and this will. So this is the crit striking build as far as Dove is concerned. I use her primarily in Guild Wars attacks. She's my number one damage dealer when it comes to crit strike ability. And she will take out every premier hero in the game. And if she doesn't do it the first time, she will do it the second time after I've refitted her and rebuilt her. I shall return is the battle cry of Dovekeeper. She has no innate healing ability. I give her that with survival. I also give her damage negation. Now, she's only able to take a certain amount of damage at a time, but that is negated as well as giving her that invaluable healing opportunity. By running her with survival, I can build so many different kinds of doves here on this spectrum. With Victory Lunge, I give her a big attack boost. I also reduce her damage cap. She will receive less than her skill provides through the use of a Victory Lunge. Big, big help. I blend her half and half dodge, half crit. I go long battles with Dove. Her not taking any damage because she dodged the hit is fantastic. I also want her to have a higher likelihood to crit. The trait crit in blue is going to give you a better likelihood to crit. It will happen more often. However I run my Dove, Vigorous Fury, Survival, she's going to have a higher likelihood to provide the critical strike. The red crit damage will increase the damage from her critical strike. When you're hitting into the millions against a hero, I don't need more crit damage. So I've gone with the more higher likelihood to crit. There is no there are inferior and superior builds to Dove. I don't think there's a right and wrong. So it's not a black and white issue. It's multiple shades of gray. And that is what gives Dove Keeper such a tremendous ability in this game. She is coming in damage-wise at about 54,000 damage, a little over 1.4 million health. Decent accuracy, and you can go with that. That will help her. Dodge, a little bit high, because I like to keep her out of the way of harm and allow her to activate her skill multiple times during the course of the battle. Dove is an essential hero in this game. At any time. If you are the luckiest Castle Clasher in the world and you roll a Dove on day one, she will be an essential part of your team. If you are a Castle Clasher who started on day one of this game and for the last 6 years has been playing, Dove is an essential part of your team. She never loses her go-to status. You're thinking about putting that team of specialists together, often it begins with a foundation of Dove. Essential at any part. The moment you get her, invest your time, effort, energy, and resources into building a great Dove. She, like Walla Walla, when working together, help to create a core foundation for multiple game modes. She is somebody that you will really value. Also, she is third highest in the game of Castle Clash in terms of her DPS or damage per second. She spawns, and that is going to give her that extra opportunity for hits in combat. I am not running a Sunder because I do not use her in Archdemon. I have gotten the question many, many times in Archdemon videos. Why don't you use Dove? All minutia aside, okay, experts of Archdemon, big idea here. She can hit multiple times. She has great DPS, but she is not able to routinely sustain the 500,000 damage cap during the Archdemon process, okay? There are better heroes to choose than that. So while she hits often, she doesn't hit enough. And that is why somebody like a Trixie Treat or a Gunslinger or a Beast Tamer provide far more utility in that particular game mode. So I have chosen this particular setup in order to get the best out of my Dove in how I use her. Serena. Serena is an auto-proc hero. She will, from a distance with the use of the Empower talent or Insignia, she will do the following. She will do relatively decent damage against the enemy. She will do that globally, anywhere on the 40x40 board. She will regain health based on the damage dealt. She will not revive your heroes. Just like her brother Triantar. She has the ability to revive. She does not do as well as Triantar, reviving only 3 instead of every member of your team. But she can't do that in a defensive scenario, in base defense. She's only going to be able to do damage against the enemy, heal herself up, and give one friendly hero 100% attack increase, as well as really nice damage reduction and healing. And she can do this every 3 seconds, but she can't revive people. In an offensive scenario, like I'm attacking you in a Guild Wars sense, if I bring her along, yes, she can revive. And yes, she can do all of the buffs and damage that we just spoke about. So she does have that limitation, just like Triantar. She is an example of a good auto-proc hero, and that's why I went with Empower. By giving her a Wicked Armor, get her attack up, limit the reflect and deflect damage, that can kill her. Now, all of a sudden, it is taken down to 7,000 per hit. With a Holy Conviction, extra healing, extra damage reduction, keep her out of danger. She is While she has great damage dealing capability, great deal of utility, she is a utility hero primarily. She is a buffer, she is a helper, she is a support or a pillar in your team. If I am running her in an attack sense, and I do sometimes during Guild Wars, I love that extra 100% damage boost to the enemy, to my teammates. It's going to give one of my teammates, and if it lands on a crit striker like Dove, it's lights out for the enemy. But it's got to begin with keeping her added danger. With a survival, I would probably be running a Sacred Light just to go fully defensive. No half steps in between. Let's go full defensive, allow for multiple skill activations over a suspended battle. 51,000 damage, 1.2 million health, 3,000 accuracy, 6,000 dodge. Keep your scalpels out of the rusty drawer, okay? Take care of them. Make sure that they're put away and well oiled. Use her in that sense. She should have dodge. Serena is a preferred hero in the beginning of the game, and I think she maintains that throughout the game. Her attack boost, her ability to revive, she becomes a real help. There is some essential quality or nature to Serena in the sense that during the final stages of the game, in Insane Dungeons 8, you will need to revive your heroes, and this will require the use of Triantar. You will be needing to revive perhaps your heroes a second time, and this will require the use of Serena as well. There she does become essential. And in that one instance and that one game mode, I would probably be running her with a Revitalize, giving her the opportunity to provide the revive. Not worried about the damage buff or any of that other stuff. Just the revive instantaneously. That would be the time that I'm running her with a revive. So with a revite to allow the instant revive. So preferred, maintains that throughout the game, becomes in its final stages an essential hero in one specific game mode. Okay, Storm Eater. Storm Eaters are next. Storm Eater is a bit like a champagne cork, okay? You shake up the bottle, all of a sudden you hear this tremendous explosive pop. That's Storm Eater. He activates instantaneously. He wipes everybody out. But then pretty soon, he's all over the floor. Storm Eater is the ultimate stirred champagne bottle. He is going to do nearly unlimited damage instantaneously in something like a Lost Battlefield. In fact, I would say he's a number one Lost Battlefield hero. You can make arguments that somebody like a Laz can do more instantaneous and freeze-related damage. He can drill down on people so hard that he can almost, not quite, but almost knock out damage-capped heroes as well. Nobody can attack as brutally during an instantaneous activation of skill like Storm Eater. For that reason, I am giving him a Zealous Drive. He is one of only 2 heroes I have in this game with a Zealous Drive. I think Zealous Drive, kind of like Bulwark, is attempting to do 2 completely different things. An attack-related thing and a defensive-related thing. I think that makes it poor at 2 different things. I'd rather choose one that works really, really well. I am only interested in the range bonus that Zealous Drive provides. Storm is, for me, the best Lost Battlefield hero. I want him in the front of my Lost Battlefield team. I want him in the front of my Goblin fighting team or my Labyrinth team. I want him to be used in that capacity. The range bonus is going to allow a primary and preferred skill activation over an opponent who is lacking the Zealous Drive. The system will say to itself, we have 2 Storm Eaters, Both of them have Zealous Drive, or both of them have a talent. One is Zealous Drive, the other might be Unholy Pact. Both of them have a Revitalize. Which one goes off first? Well, the one with the faster attack speed in this game. But they're both the same hero. It would then be onto the range bonus to decide the winner. I would get faster skill activation. That Zealous Drive. Remember the +1 range. Instantaneous skill activation with the Revitalize. He has hecka DPS, top 10. If I'm using him in some kind of DPS-related game mode, I go with the Sunder. Extra hits. His ability to drill down over a sustained period of time on those enemies in front of him. Very, very invaluable. Bosses, Labyrinth Goblins, anything, Lava Isle. Preferred hero in any Lava Isle. He's going to do a great job. He is not at the level of an Archdemon hero, and that is why I'm not running him in that particular fashion. If I were running the Sunder, I would probably be going with a Brawler's Favor to, again, get that attack base damage up, really provide some massive hits. But typically, I am running him as what he does best, his specialty, and that is instant skill activation and wiping out the team. To help with that, I'm running Silencing Shot. And this is one of only 2 heroes that I have Silencing Shot. It is simply, I don't worry about any of this other garbage. It is simply for the range increase. It will add a 1 to his range. Paired up with the Zealous Drive, it's going to give me about a square's distance range increase over someone who has not explored these options. More than enough to get first fire in front row activity in something like a Lost Battlefield or a Labyrinth. All damage. There's nothing I can do trait-wise to increase his range. So when he does go off, I want him to do as much damage as possible. If I'm facing a team of 5, and 2 of them are Dove and Levanica, and 3 are any other 3 heroes, those 3 heroes will be dead as soon as he activates his skill. Only the heroes with a damage cap will be remaining. An amazing Lost Battlefield fighter. He is coming in at 53,000 damage, well over 1.3 million health. I'm not worried about his accuracy. It's sustained, prolonged, circular area of effect damage that this man is doing. The majority of the time he's going to be hitting, I'd rather he be hitting harder. And I'm not worried about dodge. If he gets killed after first or second skill activation, the game modes in which I'm using him have a short timer anyway. It's player versus player, face-to-face game modes that I'm using this man in most often. Storm Eater is I would say a preferred hero, maybe first 2/3 of the game. By last third of the game, you probably are building teams that are strong enough to compete in things like a Lost Battlefield or in like a Labyrinth challenge or anything that these player versus player fast game modes allow. In that sense, I think he becomes an essential hero. You have to make let's take Lost Battlefield, a 15-person team, 3 teams of 5. You are choosing Storm Eater at some time during that process, and you're putting him up in front, and you're giving him a Revitalize, and I've chosen him to, in addition, give him a hefty range bonus, and you are carving your way through the enemy one battle after the next. So absolutely essential hero in those specific player versus player game modes. Great hero all around. If I did not specify, I want to say that I'm using him range bonus in player versus player or high DPS in damage cap modes. I don't think there's something called a general use Storm Eater. It's not a hero I'd go out raiding with or try to use on a daily basis here and there through the many different modes or facets of Castle Clash. He has very specific uses. He's a specific tool, and you only reach for him when you need him, and that is why it keeps him in the range that I've laid out here talent-wise. Okay, Professor Ribbit. Ribbit is an auto-proc hero, buffs herself. That doesn't help. Doesn't help our team. Don't give up 1 of 6 of your hero bases by having an auto-proc empower generated Professor Ribbit. That auto-proc is going to be useless to help your team. So if you're going to use her, have a foundation for survivability. Go with Sacred Light, extra damage reduction, extra health. Reflect damage will hurt her and will kill her. A little bit of Holy Conviction for more damage reduction. A little bit of extra healing. She is not an innate healer, but she can have a healing pet or a member of the team that will help her. Dodge. Keep her out of harm's way. Or survival. Negate damage outright. All Professor Ribbit does is smash stuff up around her. There is a brief period of invulnerability that she is given during her skill activation. By running survival, I'm giving her 40% of the time invulnerability, with the option to have immunity to damage for all the time the giant frog is in play. Now, no hero is immune to damage. Nobody can go immune the entire time. But you can overlap immunities in this game. And by running her with a survival, I am taking the dice roll chance that her skill-generated immunity, as well as the survival talent-related immunity, as well as all this damage reduction, that they're going to help each other. I'm not saying necessarily overlap. I'm not that lucky. Okay? But at least help one another to keep her alive. She can be a tough one to keep alive. And that is why the dodge and all of this and the hope that she can go invulnerable for extended seconds. Her lack of any specific use in this game makes her a hero that I wouldn't be chasing after. She is not a hero that provides any tremendous utility to your team. And so I would just call her a fun hero throughout the entire game. She's about 53,000 attack, about 1.2 million health. You can see some high dodge. She's a smasher upper. Don't have to worry so much about accuracy. Just trying to keep her alive. Give her a little bit of, try her out every once in a while. She's nobody you need to chase after, and she's certainly not essential to any aspect of Castle Clash. Just a fun hero at any time. Much better heroes to prioritize with your resource expenditure. Okay, we have ourselves our final hero. We have made it now through a dozen heroes in the Castle Clash Compendium. We are going to end this episode, episode 5, with our 60th hero. And that hero is Levanica. Levanica, I would put into the top 3 of Castle Clash heroes. I might even say, and stick with my original top 10, that he is probably number 2. He is behind the Dovekeeper for the reasons that we discussed when we discussed Dove. But he has a damage cap. But unlike Dove, that damage cap goes away. It's during that time that he can get himself killed. He has the ability to heal. He does a very, very good job of that. He can paralyze the enemy, stun them up, sort of like a Sasquatch, and that has its utility and use. I would say if you have a Levanica during the first third of this game, you would place Levanica perhaps at the God tier level. It's a hero that can solo any base during that first third journey through Castle Clash. By the second third of the game, you're starting to see that Levanica best functions and can really only survive on a team of 6. There's no more soloing opportunities. Levanica isn't able to sustain himself against today's top premier heroes in that way. I would say during the final third of this game, you may be using Levanica, perhaps to distract the enemy while your Dove Keeper kills him. That Levanica becomes somebody who's meant to keep the enemy busy for as long as they can be, while you use your other heroes to do the attacking. Levanica is serving that role now in Castle Clash. He's a very good, that is a skill. He is very good at keeping the enemy distracted during this point in the game, during endgame, if you will. But that is only because of his damage cap, which can shut down at any time. I have relegated Levanica to a couple of different uses. One, he is a member of an Archdemon team. There are certain Archdemons where you need to have a Levanica. Because of that, I have decided to make half of his build oriented towards Archdemon, and the other half oriented towards general gameplay use. I'm running him with a Sunder for the extra hits in the Archdemon. I'm running him with the Brawler's Favor for the big attack base boost. I'm running him with a Pyre Mage for an extra helper in combat. I'm running him all attack. This way he's going to be able to hit that 500,000 damage cap on the Archdemon. If I am not running him that way, I need to give him the ability to negate damage. He gets rained down upon by crit strikes. Yeah, his damage cap's stopping them, but you're going to find that 5th or 6th strike, or that 2nd or 3rd second of the creation auto proc corkscrew that hits him, his damage cap goes down, and he's dead. So survivability, the chance to have an extra heal in addition to his own, and the extra damage. I would probably be running a Sacred Light along with the survival, and this would probably be my Guild Wars attack, where I'm using Dove as my crit striker, where I'm using Levanica to keep everybody busy for the whole 3-minute battle. He's not dying. Not with that setup. And to allow my other heroes to be supporting Dove or to be knocking out the enemy with their own skill activations. So it's different ways to run a Levanica. Not nearly as many as Dove, but different ways. And I have chosen to make Archdemon probably the primary way, but I can go any way through every game mode with a basis for survivability and the choice of putting an insignia that is specific to that game mode by running him this way. And with that extra attack and then that extra helper in combat, there's really no game mode where I would suffer. In fact, it would be a big benefit. Lava, great at what he does. Wonderful freeze, paralysis, wonderful damage against the enemy, wonderful survivability if you're taking good care of him. I would say if you're not running a Pyre Mage for specific game modes like I like, I would say Holy Conviction. He might be the 2nd or 3rd best candidate for the enchantment Holy Conviction. Will really help him. He needs damage reduction of some kind. That damage cap of his goes down. He's not Dove. I would say absolutely an essential hero, in the sense that we are allowed to have 6 heroes on every team. If I have to bring just one, if I'm facing horrible demons and I'm alone, I'm going to be scared. Okay, if I can bring one hero along, I'm going to bring my Dove Keeper. But if I'm able to bring 2 along, I'm going to call Lava and Dove and say, come and protect me. So we are allowed to make a team. So I would probably put him 2nd thus far in Castle Clash and turn into top heroes. Really, really essential hero for a team. A really essential hero for success in Castle Clash, especially during the latter stages of the game. As you reach those last parts of the game, you're going to find that you're using your Levanica often and in many different ways through all of the avenues and back alleys of Castle Clash lore. We have brought ourselves to the end of Chapter 5. We'll do Chapter 6 next with the final dozen heroes in the Castle Clash Compendium, bringing ourselves up to the modern era here in the great novel and story that is Castle Clash. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I will check you on the next video. All right, bye-bye.